think the resistance is real?
No. None of it's real.
There are thought criminals who maintain that the resistance is not real. Believe me, Winston, it is very real. Perhaps you are not familiar with how it operates.
I'm attentive to the news.
Indeed. And perhaps you imagine a huge network of conspirators prepared to commit any atrocity to demoralize and weaken the order of our society. The reality is infinitely more subtle. If Goldstein himself fell into the hands of the thought police, he could not give them a list of his agents. Such a list does not exist. They are not an organization in the sense we know. Nothing holds it together but an idea.
In accordance with the principles of doublethink, it does not matter if the war is not real, or when it is, that victory is not possible. The war is not meant to be won. It is meant to be continuous. The essential act of modern warfare is the destruction of the produce of human labor. A hierarchical society is only possible on the basis of poverty and ignorance. The war is waged by the ruling group against its own subjects, and its object is not victory over Eurasia or Eastasia, but to keep the very structure of society intact.
Tuesday, the 24th of March 2015. My name's Paul.
My name's Andy.
And this is our Unpenned Show. Apart from deciding what opening tunes we're going to play and what tune we're going to play at the end, not a thing. No. Not a thing. Just over 2.5 years we've been doing this. Every single week, give or take a couple that we missed. Things have changed dramatically. We've actually been looking into this now for, 5, 6, 7 years? 5 seriously, 2 on our own, 5 together.
Yeah.
5 just need 6 together, actually.
It will be, yeah.
And those 2 on your own don't help, do they?
No.
Because there's too much.
There is.
It's mind-blowing. And I know the majority of people who do this are actually doing it on their own.
Yeah.
And that is a massive disadvantage. Because you don't know where to start, because nothing is you.
No.
Nothing is you. Nothing that you know is you. Everything that you know is complete opposite to what you thought you were. Some people never recover. Some people never get out of it.
No.
Remember when it started for us? The birth certificate. And the scam that is money.
Yeah.
And it's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Because the opening clip, 1984, I mean, we can call it propaganda. We can say, was Orwell warning us? Well, yes, in his dying days he was doing interviews to say, yes, he was warning us. We want the world to be black and white like a chessboard. So we can see the winner, we can see the loser, we can plot our strategy, and we can move through life. If only it was that easy. It's not that easy.
No.
It's not. It is 50 Shades of Grey. I mean, that film in itself should have been degrading to women. The queues were full of women. We have to ask ourselves, how could that be? Because the film, allegedly, the actual stars in the film, the girl herself was too old compared to the book. The book depicts the star as being considerably younger, without saying how young. Some say the book is a case of abuse. It doesn't matter to me. These are things that we used to get hooked up on.
Yeah.
We used to somehow have to want to know.
Yeah.
And we had to know. And even though the internet never did tell us, we cherry-picked what we liked to back up what we wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And the reason why we wanted it to be that is because somebody who we thought was cleverer than us had already said it. So we wanted to be part of their team. We saw that somebody who we'd been listening to had said that they believe this to be the truth. So we actually go looking for what we can find to back up what they've said. Why would we do that? Because we're good little dogs, aren't we? Good little packhounds, aren't we? We go running around and bring something back to somebody who we think is clever, called teacher, and all we want is a pat on the head and a bit of recognition, don't we? Well, that's what Facebook is.
It is, yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. The gurus, the people who we think are smarter than us, yeah, you run around all day, following and worshipping, agreeing and liking, and try and bring something to, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me.
I've brought you your newspaper and your slippers.
Is that just Facebook, though? Or is that how it really is? You see, we use Facebook, but is Facebook not just the microcosm of the macrocosm of the world, of the life that everyone lives that they never see? Is it not the connections that we no longer make? Of course it is, isn't it? We've sat here for a long time now knowing that everything is a bigger or smaller version of everything else. And slowly but surely we try and put it into words. And no one gets it. Do you know why? Because they listen to other people. I've had a few PM messages this week on Facebook from names that we know, but it doesn't matter. I'm not going to name them. And I try and put forward what I think are descriptions of what's going on. I try and describe it in what I think is the most plain of Yorkshireman's language, because that's all I have. And everybody else is busy doing this very same thing. They put their point across. But have you noticed that the majority of people always quote somebody? Yes, I've been reading George Bernard Shaw, Bernays. I've been reading this, that, and the other. And yes, I've been looking at how they describe the parallel universe, the alter ego, the very psychoanalysis of what is our subconscious. Yes, I've been looking at their descriptions, and I can align myself with some of that. It's not them, is it?
Oh.
They're just copying and pasting the bits that they like.
It's not free thinking.
It's not at all, is it?
Isn't, no.
You just jump from one programme to another programme.
Yeah.
We struggled to wonder what it was that we were bringing to this for a while, didn't we? But we knew we had something to bring. We just didn't actually know what it was that we had. And we had a unique understanding of the words and then the method of connecting them. And people who tell me what others have told them to see are still blind.
Yes, they are.
They are.
Yeah.
They're using other people's glasses. They're seeing other people's reality. But because they claim they can detect it exists, then they claim that that's their reality until something comes along to change it. Has our reality changed over the past 2.5, 3, 5 years? No,
not really.
It's become HD, hasn't it?
It has.
We've actually can see straight through it now.
Yes.
We might have MIST something in the fog of war.
Yeah.
But we haven't MISSED much now, have we?
No, not now.
Not really. Because we've learned to sail, haven't we?
Yeah. And if anything, found greater depth to it. As you said, we've gone further down the pier, and we've decided to get off the pier and have a
learn to swim.
Let's have a real look.
This is almost you could almost say it's climbing the mountains or deep sea diving, because you have to be brave enough to do either.
You do,
without a safety net. Now, of course, the world provides a safety net, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's called the farewell system, and you're not going to, are you? See, farewell is a way of saying bye-bye in reverse, isn't it?
Yeah.
Try it. Just try that out and see how that works for you. Isn't the welfare system the third generation of domestication that is now bringing into being a society of learned, helpless, and stupid people that blame each other for the problems? They look in the mirror just to beautify themselves and never see anything else. It's a mess, isn't it?
It is.
But this is the third generation. And I sometimes sort of like to go along with those that speak well and say, but we can change it, or we can turn it around. We just need to do this, and we just need to do that. Such small words, aren't they? If we do this, and if we do that. Can you detect an improvement in the intelligence of the circles that we mix it? Can you detect an improvement in intelligence? Just say it.
No.
No.
We feel like we've left them behind, don't
Do you
they?
detect the very opposite is happening? They're being sucked in with the fairy tales, myths and legends.
Yeah.
The history wants just to suck you in.
Yeah.
Because they're going into a fascist system, fascism, where big business and government get together to rape the people. And what are they? What are they? What are they absolutely sucked in by? Fascination. Fascination. The master storytellers.
That's right, they are.
Yeah.
And they can't help themselves, because that's what creates and gets listeners and makes you look attractive to somebody else.
Hope and change. Hope and change. Hope and change. Also, vote for me. Vote for me.
And once you've learnt that you can,
These are the bad guys. I'm the good guy.
Yeah,
Don't listen to them.
leave all the trappings behind and do your own, the quiet time with nothing switched on, no TV, no radio, no internet, no books open. Just sit and think about things you want to think about.
But no one does that.
No,
The little voice in
not
their
got
head.
the time.
Yeah, but the only reason you actually have that time you're saying is so valuable. The only reason you have that is because all other needs are currently seen to.
Yeah.
Now, we've said this in many different ways over the years, and I'm going to say it again. It's getting more and more blunt each time. If you're not independent, if you're not looking after your own needs, if you cannot provide for yourself what you need, if you're actually relying on other people's money, you can't do this. You cannot do this. You cannot actually do this properly, because you're always in trouble. You cannot emerge and see, because you're living a life of crisis. And like all cliff dodgers, when you can see the end of the cliff, you will hang on to and say whatever you need to prevent being pushed off it. Those that don't have will rely on those that do. And to criticise those that do is to be the biggest hypocrite of all. Fix your own life, feed your kids, sort your life out, and then come back. But if you ain't doing those things, when you sat on here bitching and moaning about people who are, I said this last week, and I mean it.
Yeah.
I'm done with you. I'm done. The myths, legends and fairy tales have occupied millions of people over the years. It's called religion. And there are many thousands of religions. Some have churches, some have cults, and others just have followers.
Yeah.
But they all produce a magazine, don't they? Which is where the bullets are kept.
Yes, they are.
And you read those points.
Your bullet points.
You read those points, and then you use them to shoot anybody who actually disagrees with you, don't you? You use them to shoot people who don't agree with you. Because have we been living a life of I like you because you do things that I enjoy and benefit from? Have we been living a life that makes us like those people? And then the minute that person does things that we're not happy about, then we detect that they're trying to hurt us, so we decide to get them back. What a horrible existence that must be.
Yep.
Revenge. A life of never-ending plotting others' downfall. Competing. Remember? Now, competition, I believe, is healthy. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But not behind your own front door.
Fair competition.
Not behind your own
Yeah.
front door.
Not
You
subsidised
shouldn't-
competition, as we've said in a couple of weeks, not last week, the week before.
Well, we'll come on to that, yes. We'll come on to that. But at the level that we are, competition is good.
Yeah.
It's good for our kids. Okay, everyone isn't a winner.
No.
If you're not the best at something, you're not going to win at it.
No.
Don't keep telling kids that it's not the winning, it's just the taking part. That's guaranteed to actually make broken children. Well, yeah. So they give them a counterfeit reality, where they can sit down and pick a game they can win at. Right down to, Angry Birds, the hell, Candy Crush, bloody Farmville, colouring in. These are things that we find uncomfortable, but others find normal. We are the ones that have been bred out of existence, you know that, don't you? The actual end product that we're heading for here is what it's always been said to be. And this is socialism we live under. It's a socialised healthcare service, socialised welfare system,
Welfare, yeah.
and it's a socialised pension system.
Pension as well,
That's
yeah.
been stolen. Okay, the pension has gone. There is no pension money put aside for those that are reaching pensionable age, which is why they've had to start a new one. Okay, so you still pay it into the old one, but now you're paying over and above that as well. So you subsidise the old one that's run out of money a long time ago, and then they want another 4% this year, and is it 5% next year?
Yeah,
well, it's 2% each for the employer, isn't it?
Yeah.
And as the years go up,
it's going to increase. Yeah,
and the employer's part. So, so it's you got 4% of your wages missing this year, 5 or 6% next year, about 7%, 8% the year after. It stops about there, doesn't it? So that's your next 3 or 4 years' pay rise is gone.
Gone.
So the government is actually stealing your future pay rises for the next 3 years.
Already, yeah.
Okay, it's actually stealing them with a promise to give you them back the day after you're dead.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not interested in seeing you in any part getting to pensionable age and being happy at the end.
Nope.
If you were the money men sat on this system, what would you be like? Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Have a little look at your life and just ask yourself this question. Who do I know who's interested in seeing me being happy and healthy and over 70? Nobody. Nobody. I don't want to. The pension systems that are in place now were designed to bankrupt the system. They can't possibly work. They could never possibly work. Guy comes in my shop now, retired at 54 years old from the fire service. He's now 76 years old, still fit, still healthy. 22 years of pension. And he proudly says, I have had more in pension money than I actually earned in all the years that I was in the fire service.
Actually working.
He said, what a brilliant pension scheme that is. It should be for everybody. I said, God bless you, you're 76. You haven't realised yet, have you? You never put that amount in. So the amount you get now is being paid in by somebody else.
Paid by somebody else.
You're busy making them poor, you know that, don't you? They don't know they're poor yet, but they're going to be because you're getting it. Well, I'm only doing what I'm allowed to do. I stand where you are. I know, and I'm not trying to make you feel guilty, but at least trying to figure out some common sense here. You can't possibly get more out than you've paid in. You can't possibly get more out than your entire bloody salary was during the time you were there than you paid in. Well, they do invest these things, you know. I said, look, just enjoy your lunch. Obviously, I'm making you feel guilty. I didn't mean to. Just apply some common sense here. If you want to know, I mean, socialism, we were told this in George Bernard Shaw. He's a name that a lot of people know. Very well connected during his years, wrote lots of books. And in the book, The Intelligent Women's Guide to Socialism and Capitalism, written in 1928, on page 470, under socialism, you would not be allowed to be poor. Well, that sounds great, doesn't it? That sounds great, doesn't it?
He hadn't defined who those people that are not poor are, though.
Hang on a second. Hang on a move. Well done, Scottish Red Indian. Hang on a move. You would be forcibly fed, clothed, lodged, taught, and employed, whether you liked it or not. This is the language of the 1920s. If it were discovered that you had not character and industry enough to be worth all this trouble, you might possibly be executed in a kindly manner, but whilst you were permitted to live, you would have to live well. Now that's the Fabian Society, which he claims to be one of the very early founding members, which turned into the Labour Party.
Yeah.
Because what holds this whole thing together is an idea like this, given to the university graduates that turn into the control freaks that we have today. They read these books and they consent between themselves that these ideas are good for them. And the reason they're good for them is because these are the power brokers of the day, instilling into them how to maintain a control system that allows them never to have to work but always remain in charge. And just as is happening at this lower level here, we're becoming weaker and weaker, and we know less and less that matters, but somehow we still are able to survive. The same is going on above. Because we're easier to control, because we're easier to fool, they themselves are losing their power and intelligence. But as of today, what's happening is they're actually raping everybody. They're emptying the house They've stole the silver a long time ago. They've stole the jewels a long time ago. They've sold off the surrounding properties some time ago. But now they're taking the light switches, the lampshades, the curtains and the poles and the radiators. They're having it all. This is a mad dash to the end, because they know that this won't last forever. And as the weak that they are, they know deep down that we can survive without them, but they cannot survive without us. So should you go with, when will the day of reckoning be? I don't have the answer, but in their heads is the ultimate revolution, that if we can't keep this, and the way we do keep it is we keep them poor, sick and uninformed. We need to redouble our efforts to maintain our control over them, because the minute they figure out that they don't actually need us, this game's over. So we must never ever let them have a moment's peace, so they can actually get together and do that. That's the real truth, that the idea that prevails the control system is using against us. They collectively know that exerting more rules and regulations will take from us more money. And they know keeping us poor is how this is done. Tony Benn talked about it in the 60s. He's talked about it all the way through. Whatever he said about Tony Benn doesn't matter to me. But he said, keep them poor. Keep them poor and confused. That's democracy.
Ill-informed.
Yeah. We are. We are. We're a sick society.
We are. Yeah.
And we go on here looking for hope and change. Well, keep clicking. The world's a series of close-knit clicks. But it's not change, is it?
No. Well, you mentioned Tony Benn there. I remember going to listen to speeches he did when he came to Yeadon Town Hall. And I went there and listened for the CND, along with the... was he a military vicar? That was his pal. The two got up and spoke. And did it do any good? No, not at all. Did it get us all fighting amongst each other about everything we should fight about? Yes, it worked.
Of course it will.
Of course it worked perfectly.
That's why they give you a number of answers.
Yep.
It's the question time approach to politics.
It is, yeah.
You put 5 heads up there, you ask a question, you get 5 different answers, and then the audience, all individually happy with their representative's answer, now fight amongst themselves.
Yes, they do.
Nothing gets changed.
And nothing
gets changed at all.
Other than they're making us poorer and poorer.
Now, we don't advocate that we can change much at all, and over our time in seeing this develop and seeing the crazies take over what is the alternative media, because the crazies have taken over the alternative media. I mean, I watched, I can't get these minutes of my life back, but I watched 3 or 4 minutes of a video today, and these are 50-year-old blokes who were blocking a road, a highway, because apparently it didn't belong to the council or anything like that, and they could park there because some bylaw said they could, and they were just doing it out of awkwardness. And the police turned up and said, like, guys, why are you doing this? What's to gain here? They read this, bylaws that. You have no power here. You can't say these things to us here. And you think, you do look a set of twats. What's to win? It wasn't their land. They were just found some old bylaw that the police couldn't overrule, apparently. Motorists couldn't get through. The police were annoyed. Job done, fellas.
Yeah.
Job done. You made yourself look a right pair of... Well, I won't say it again. It's these people that embarrass us. They embarrass our cause. And the cause is to try and tell people that this is a scam of slavery we live in. It seems sophisticated, but it's not really.
No.
You just need someone to go through it slowly with you, and you realise that, yeah, you're being played for a fool. You've been taught to be a fool. You wonder why we all want to go along to get along. We want to get married, we want to have children, and we want to be able to pay our bills and have a little bit left. Well, why don't we? Because it's not designed to work like that. You're designed to strive like that and try and achieve that, but you can't have it because the advertisers won't leave you alone. The advertisers tell you, you need this because your life will be better. Well, you hear that, if I don't have that, my life won't be better. So I'll have to have it. And what's the first emotion that you feel when you make a big purchase? When you make a big purchase, whether it be cash up front or whether you've signed a credit deal for 3 years, a big purchase, whether it be a car or a house or something similar, what's the first emotion that you feel?
Guilty.
It's bloody guilt, isn't it?
Yeah, 'cause
you actually feel guilty. You have this, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, you're asking yourself, should I have done it?
But you know you shouldn't.
But you justify
You
it
know
to
you
yourself
bloody
that you
shouldn't,
should,
really.
yeah.
It's that little fella in your head, isn't it?
Mm.
You see? It's that little... It knows. Because you know you shouldn't have done it. You know you shouldn't. You should have invested your time in something that would have lasted as long as possible and been as efficient as possible. But you didn't. You bought something you wanted.
Mm.
Well, if you have all you need, good. But did you put the want before the need? Well, yeah. That's why you felt guilty then, isn't it? Mm. Everybody does it. You know spending money is making yourself poor and stealing future happiness. So why do we do it? Because the advertisers make us do it. No, they don't. It's the ego, isn't it? It's how you want to be perceived, isn't it? If we could only ever get over the depth of what I'm going to say next. The word vehicle is the word persona, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And the persona, we now know, is who you want to be seen as by others. The mask you want to wear. So make no mistake, the car you drive is an absolute reflection of who you want to be seen to be. It doesn't mean that's you. It's who you want to be seen to be. It may well be you're not lucky enough to pick the car that you want. You may well just have to drive an old banger.
Mm-hmm.
And it may well be any old banger that
had to do that
that's
for
a good
plenty of years.
Yeah, but it's still you, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's the true you, isn't it?
Mm.
That's the true you.
That's all I could afford.
But that was that's the true you, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You know, when you're driving a 30 grand, whatever, when it's not the true you.
No.
It's what you want to be perceived to be you. But you're a fake. Well, the only person that you're lying to is yourself, because other people see it and assume that you are what you show them you are. You're the one that's lying to you. They're not being lied to because they're doing the same thing.
Mm.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the Chelsea tractors that occupy the school pickup zones all over the country. Really, these are 4-wheel drive BMW X5s, Audi, whatever they are, Range Rovers. Yeah, but these are just the mums that the school gets because that's what they want. I have no problem with that. I think if you have the money to buy these things, crack on. That's how an economy's made. But if you've mortgaged yourself for it, why? Why do you do it? Why? You're making yourself poor. People do it all the time. But let's move along. What else you got this week? What you got on Radio 4?
Nothing on Radio 4, well, other than pushing the pharmaceutical business. And just one little thing that did come out was they're not investing in any new drugs that are antibiotics. The investment
They've been preparing us for this.
The investment in antibiotics.
The further withdrawal of healthcare.
Yes, yeah. And
the further withdrawal continues.
And they know that we're getting more and more immune to them because of the mis-selling of them.
Because they say we are.
Yeah, and
do you know it's true?
It's no,
not me neither.
No,
I have no bloody clue. But the newspapers say it's true.
Yeah.
So 99% of the people will say it is.
Yeah,
and doctors will say it is because they don't bloody know either.
Just a funny little instance. We're coming up for the election, aren't we? And the place where I'm working at, they've got
it's a poll, isn't it? Really,
they've got a little.
Which liar do you want? It's a poll of which liar would you like?
It certainly is. The little lad there is 7, and because it's coming up to Easter, they've been told to go away and decorate an egg in the style of one of the one of the political parties. And he came home and he said,
"Where have you had this from?"
And from where I've been working at today.
Go on.
And the little 7-year-old lad come home and he said, I don't want to do an egg as a politician. I want to do a snake.
Good luck.
He said,
Like
I
you better.
want to do a snake. And
I
his
was
mum says, I've told teacher he wants to do a snake and she's not happy with the snake. I says, well, just tell him, let him do a snake and then take it in and say,
Why?
that is all the politicians because they're all snakes.
Yeah, exactly. But
And she said, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to go with that.
good. Well, snake is just
So-
the word sneak, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
just the word sneak. It's just it's just a respell, isn't it?
Mm.
If I would have had to have two faces on each egg. Two faces. It'd be two faces, wouldn't it? One looking like the evil, pantomime baddie, and one looking like the pantomime dame. I'd have had those are two faces that I'd have put on there. I'll please tell you. Politicians have they cannot tell the truth. For the same reason you can't tell the truth. You would be not very popular, would you?
No.
You know, what if the real truth is, as Jack Straw once said, the English are a race not worth saving? Because in my quieter moments, I do look at the world around us and I think, how the hell are we going to turn this around? I've had some success one-on-one. Individual people who I've met along the way, who I've spent time with. And I've had some success, but only showing them how life really works as regards to where they live and how they live. The bigger picture of the slavery thing, it doesn't really help after the initial understanding that we are living in a mummy and daddy system. And this mummy and daddy system, which has been around for a long time, it's becoming a lot more transparent now. You can see the other side of the parent now. They're becoming like, you'll do as you're told. Mummy and daddy are getting a little annoyed with you now. But it's more in the personal lives of the mistakes that we make that we don't see ourselves making. It's more in the discovery of who they should be, who they really are, that they never knew who they were, because the world had programmed them to be just the same as everybody else. The world had programmed them to fight and talk and think and bitch and bite and fall out like everybody else does. And it's only when you sit back and take a moment and for the first time in your life listen without feeling the need to talk, it's only then that you can actually achieve some success in turning your own life around for the better. People recognise that change, and some laugh at it, and some try and take advantage of it, but others are wary of it. They're not quite sure what to say to you about it. And if you are in the early parts of the discovery about your birth certificate and how it's used to it really is, used to register with mummy and daddy, and you hand yourself, you've been handed over to be educated and kept well and educated, and your parents get given a little amount of money each week to make sure you have the basics of what you need, and then you'll go to work. You'll go to work for Hotel England, and it is Hotel England. We all use the same money, printed by the hotel manager. Well, the hotel manager can print it for nothing, and it's worth nothing until we exchange our labour for it. So, exchanging labour then brings the money that's been printed for nothing into being, and the fact is that we now swap energy, labour, for bits of paper. So now the bit of paper becomes energised. It now has value, which we all accept. So we all trade, but everything's got a tax on it. So as long as the producer, as long as on the production line that we call life, as long as we're taxed at source there for our healthcare and supposedly the services that are provided.
Yep.
But where does income tax go? Just remind me what income tax is for again. Remind me what it's for. Anyone know what income tax is for?
It was originally...
Anyone know what it's for?
No, not...
You don't, do you?
Just not really, no.
No, you've no idea what income tax is for, have you? Anyone know? You see, does it sort the roads out? No, it's car tax. Correct?
And
your fuel tax.
Fuel tax is meant to do
and,
that.
and your health services, that's separate. And your pension
meant
is
to be national insurance.
Pension's separate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Police. No,
that's your council tax.
Tax, yeah. Library. No, council tax again.
Council tax, yeah.
Educate. No, that's business rates. Education is business rates. What's income tax pay? Anyone know? Anyone know?
War, probably.
It pays the interest on the national debt to the Bank of England, which is a private company run for profit to rape the people.
Yep.
That's what income tax is for. Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. They collect it. So they tell you where it's going, and they tell you what it's for. And it's customary. It is. It's customary to pay. Because it's a revenue and customs. And we collect it, HMRC. We pop it in the Bank of England. And then, when governments around the Commonwealth would like some money, we actually lend it back out to them at interest. That's what income tax is for. It's the government's loan bond. But it's not the government's money.
No.
Can the government print money? No. No, it can't. It has to go say, please may I have to the Bank of England, or sell some slave lots on the open market. What do you mean sell some slave lots? It sells your future bloody income tax. That's what it sells. Because it's going to borrow it back out and pay you. We don't know how it works, do we?
No, and that's why we need the birth certificate, because they know that's the futures market, isn't it?
The birth certificate is the registration of another slave.
It is. They need to know how many slaves they're going to have.
Yeah, they know the future earnings. Because each country is ranked by earnings per slave.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
it is. It is. We've got common stock, and then we've got preferred stock. And I'm afraid I think we'll be in the common stock. And that birth certificate is held, and it is traded on the open markets as surety. And it is surety for future income tax that the government will borrow in the future that they know they're going to get paid back. So it's have now, pay later, just like everybody else.
And the statistics they've got, they'll know how many are going to die before, how many are going to make it, how many are going to be drug dealers, how many are going to be prostitutes. But how many, they know all that stuff.
Yeah, how many people would actually believe that this is designed to bankrupt everybody? How many people would believe that? That this is an intentional to bankrupt us.
It is, yeah.
Whether it's set off that way or not, I don't know. But one thing we do know is that the road we're on will bankrupt everybody. Will it bankrupt the country? We don't have to worry about that. That isn't one of our worries. Our worries is our ability to maintain independence has almost gone. We cannot actually maintain ourselves by doing what we do, because the competition has increased and the subsidies paid to big companies are now making it almost impossible for Mr. Individual Self-Employed guys to actually compete with the big companies, you know. I mean, how can British Gas maintain your boiler at £7 a month? They can't, can they? They cannot really, can they? Not really. But they do.
Yeah.
But they do. You can't do that, can you?
No.
You couldn't set up I'll maintain your boiler and I'll be there within 24 hours if it breaks. And for £7 a month, it's all covered.
Christmas Day, New Year's Day.
Yeah. You see, you couldn't
Any
do that.
day.
You couldn't do that.
No.
But they can. How? Because they can't really. Competition at our level is healthy and keeps us all moving forward. It makes us strive to be better than the others. So I don't mind competition in that way. But at the upper level, it's not competition.
No.
It's cooperation to rape us. It's cooperation between preferred companies. And if you're in the stocks and shares market, this isn't advice that I'm qualified to give, but what I would do, if I so chose, I would go onto the European Union website, and I would try and find companies that are subsidised by the European Union. And then I would look at those companies, look what they made, and if I thought they made a future-proof product, I think I would probably invest in them. Because if the European Union is subsidising that company so it can be more competitive than its competitors that it chooses not to subsidise, I think you've actually got a way of picking a winner, don't you? I think we could figure out which one's going to be the winner. Now that would be a strategy that I might try should I be inclined. I'm not going to. But if anybody wants to know where the big money spinner is, it's water, isn't it? We've said this right from the start, haven't we? We've said we are done when two things happen. When cash is virtually withdrawn or demonised.
Yeah.
Cash won't be gone forever. It won't disappear completely. The smaller denominations will still have to probably, the car boot sales, your charity. People like us won't give up on cash. So cash will still be with us for a good 10, 15, 20, 30 years yet.
Yeah,
I think it probably will
something on Radio 4 today about the contactless cards. I've just received
Yeah, they're
one.
everywhere, yeah. They're
And
everywhere.
apparently that's going to remove the cash.
Because
It's a purchase anything up to £20.
Yeah, I realise that, but
So
yeah,
not
I
gonna
realise
need
that.
for cash in your pocket.
But we'll still have a little bit of money just because we will, for your cup of coffee, and because we just will.
No, you can even pay. They're phasing it out.
I know
quicker
they
than
are.
you think.
But you and I aren't going to give it up. We're not going to give it up.
No, I'm not.
Okay,
no,
so we're going to try and hold on to it.
Trying to hold on
But
to
yeah,
some
the
of it.
cashless. I mean, the thing about the cashless society is it eliminates the grey economy. Now, there is a grey economy in this country, and it's what keeps the economy actually going. All right? A lot of people are, doing a bit on the side. Bit of gardening, bit of fence repairing, bit of house painting, window cleaning. Okay, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not bothered. What other people do in their lives, little people like us, I'm not bothered. Just let them get on with it. It's of no interest to me. But those that work for government, you see, they have their money taxed at source, don't they? Like most people do. But they can't fiddle a penny, can they?
Nope.
No. Well, they make rules up that say, if you're fiddling, it's a crime. Well, we should look them back in the eye and say, and if you're fiddling, it's a crime. Because they might not be fiddling their income tax because they can't. But you can be damn bloody sure the expenses and the contract deals, that's where they get the benefit from.
Yeah.
You see? So they don't want you fiddling your income tax. Oh no. Because they can't. The world's corrupt. It's what you can get away with, isn't it? Ask anybody. Ask anybody, are you whiter than white? Have you never once taken or kept a penny that isn't yours? The world's whiter than white. No, it isn't. The world's corrupt. It's called calculated risk, isn't it?
It is.
What you can get away with.
Yeah. Goes back to the 16. All business is built on risk. Goes back to the 1600s. The time of the Bank of England been put up, been founded.
1694, I think.
Yep. And all business is done on risk. You deem to have taken the risk.
Money is a confidence trick.
It is.
Time now for John Clark and Brian Dorr with a few reflections on Europe's financial woes.
Your name is Roger, yes?
Roger.
Ah, that's your name.
Roger.
Good. And what do you do, Roger?
I'm a financial consultant.
Ah, financial consultant, eh?
Roger,
Yeah,
yes.
Terrific. And, Roger, how's business at the moment?
Not bad, thank you. Been a bit quiet lately.
How do you mean lately?
Since the war, been a bit quiet.
Fair enough. OK, Roger, your special subject tonight is the economies of the European community. Your time starts now. Best of luck.
Thank you.
How much does Greece owe, Roger?
$367 billion.
Correct. And who do they owe it to?
Mostly to the other European economies.
Correct. How much does Ireland owe?
$865 billion.
Correct. And who do they owe it to?
Other European economies, mostly.
Correct. How much do Spain and Italy owe?
$1 trillion each.
Correct. Who to?
Mainly France, Britain and Germany.
Correct. And how are Germany, France and Britain going, Roger?
Well, they're struggling a bit, aren't they?
Correct. Why?
Because they've lent all these vast amounts of money to other European economies that can't possibly pay them back.
Correct. So what are they going to do?
They're going to have to bail them out.
Correct. Where are they getting the money to do that, Roger?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that one.
How much does Portugal owe?
Hang on a minute. What was the answer to that earlier question?
Just keep answering the questions, Roger. Where is Portugal going to get the money it owes to Germany if Germany can't get back the money that it lent to Italy?
Just a minute. What was the answer to the previous question? The question was, how can broke economies lend money to other broke economies who haven't got any money because they can't pay back the money the broke economy lent to the other broke economy and shouldn't have lent it to them in the first place because the broke economy can't pay it back?
You're wasting very valuable time, Roger. How much money does Spain owe to Italy?
$41 billion, but where are they going to get it?
Correct. What does Italy owe to Spain?
$27 billion, but they haven't got it. They're broke.
Correct. How can they pay each other if neither of them has any money?
They're going to get a bailout, aren't they?
Correct. And where's the money coming from for the bailout?
That's what I'm asking you.
Correct. Why are people selling the European currency and buying the US dollar?
Because the US economy is so much stronger than the European economy.
Correct. Why is that, Roger?
Because it's owned by China.
Correct. And very well done. And after that round, you've lost $1 million.
I've lost $1 million. I thought you said well done.
Yes, well done. You've only lost $1 million. That's an extraordinary performance,
I've
Roger.
only lost $1 million.
Very well done.
And that's quite good, is it?
Oh, it's excellent.
Sell everything immediately.
That does just illustrate the craziness, doesn't it? Of we all hear that, the crazy confidence trick that is money. Country after country manufacturing what from where to lend to who for what.
Mm-hmm.
We're into billions now, aren't we? Billions. I mean, how much is a billion? You ask people how much is a billion. Some say million, some say 1,000 million.
Mm-hmm.
It is 1,000 million.
It's 1,000 million. It is.
Right, but people still can't perceive how big that is.
No.
Now, I've used this a lot of times before, but a million seconds takes 12 days to go by. A billion seconds takes 32.7 years.
Mm. There's the difference.
There's your difference. Mm. And when they get on to trillions, it's 32,700 years. And we are being held by the neck until we're bloody dead, paying back a ransom of 1.5 trillion. There are those evil, deceiving, treasonous newspapers telling us that we should see George Osborne as possibly the best Chancellor of this century so far. Has he paid back the national debt? Not a bloody penny.
Nope.
Not a bloody penny. Do the lily-livered, weak-willed journalists challenge him? No, they don't.
Nope.
Nothing at all.
Nope.
There is, on my Facebook page, one of the few people that I'm proud to promote, another angry voice. He's somewhere in Yorkshire, but he just shouts and bawls at the system. A bit like Mark, a bit like Chunky Mark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They have good things to good things to say.
Yeah.
But then what?
Mm. Yeah. No.
Shouting at mummy and daddy is never going to work.
No.
It doesn't matter how right you are. Mummy and daddy already know that they're a bunch of criminals. They already know what they're doing to you.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you have worked out what they're doing to you doesn't matter.
No.
Because in years gone by, those people in positions of power, they would... I'm going back a few years now. They themselves had been to war. They themselves had experienced lives that they were asking you to live. But not now.
No.
Not now. These people have no honour and no pride, no experience, and no right to really be running what they're doing. They have none of these things. But because of privilege, position, power, there they are. They're in there. Look at Clegg. Look at the Miliband's. Look at Haig. Look at Cameron. They are weak.
They are weak.
Pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
Nanny's boys.
Yeah. They don't even dress themselves.
I wonder how many of those boys have been taught the facts of life by Nanny.
Do you know? Just
not seriously. That's who teaches them boys the facts of life.
Just look at the ties. The way the ties are done up, and you can tell they have not even put their own tie on. Somebody has gone, put it round the neck, and done the knot for them and pulled it up. And those people don't know. I was taught by my granddad how to do a tie.
I know do a tie.
How to put a tie on.
Yeah.
How to do a Windsor knot. How to do a quick schoolboy knot.
Yeah.
He showed me all the knots on a tie,
Yeah.
but he always preferred what he called the Windsor knot.
Yeah, a nice little triangle.
Yeah, nice little triangle at the top. You put on in the mirror and you put it and you looked at it in the
or
mirror.
the double wrapper, which makes it into much more of a longer knot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you look at those and you know they've not done their own tie. You just know they haven't.
But I look at the faces. These people are younger than me now. And they need people with guns to protect them.
They do.
Why? Why are they under threat? You see, they're insecure. So what they need to surround themselves in?
Security.
Insecurity. It makes them feel better, doesn't it? Because they have done nothing.
They haven't.
They actually do nothing. If a satirist or artist wants to paint them, just paint on their backs a little hole for the hand to go in. Because these are sock puppets. Sock puppets is what they are.
Yeah.
They are nothing but throwaway people. When we're sick of one, throw them away, and we'll be provided with another one.
Well,
Labour are not meant to win this next election.
No.
Look at who they're putting up. I mean, if those boys are straight, if those boys are married with children, no, they're not.
No.
You see, it doesn't matter to me about the agenda, gay or straight, but they're not. They're not, you know. No, they're not.
No, well, they had Michael Foot, didn't they? He was never going to win it. Kinnock was never going to win it. So Miliband's not going to win it.
No.
You've got to look at the charismatic character.
Cameron's even saying he won't stay for a third term.
I know, yeah. I'm just going to say.
You know, you have to say yourself.
He's already wrote his own sell-by date.
But he's also done something else, hasn't he? Hasn't he? Has he revealed a bit more than he should there?
I think he has, yeah.
Has he revealed that now that's Labour's done? Mm-hmm. Has he revealed that, the working man no longer gets us? No. Big business picks the winners. Mm-hmm. Big business buys the winners. Yeah. And big business has no interest in non-productive members of society. And
they've got the idiocracy president that's coming, which is Boris Johnson. They've got him lined up for 2020.
His own dad's betting on him.
It is, yeah. 2020 vision. God, that's when you will see it all.
I'm telling you now that if the world as we have it now is not going to change a great deal, it's just going to get more of the same. Yeah, it's been getting more of the same since 1997, really. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the difference between the parties for me evaporated in the 90s. There was no difference now. No, it's just which liar will you pick so we can get you to where we want you to go. Mm-hmm. From 1997 to 2010, Tony Blair and Gordon is sidekick. Mm. They promised us every time, we'll give you a chance on a vote for Europe. And 3 times they said, and they didn't. Mm. Then Cameron did it, and he didn't. And now Farage is doing it. And he's never going to be able to.
No, they won't be allowed to.
UKIP have played the part, and they're playing the part well. The grassroots here are getting a lot of support. You and I know how UKIP representative. And we're probably going to give him a little of our time. Yeah. Because
we know him.
It's not who you vote for. No. It's who wins and making them do their job. Mm. So we'd like to stay friendly with our local UKIP representative because we believe that'll give us an inroads to the inner workings.
Well, he lives here as well, doesn't he?
He's a customer in my shop.
He doesn't live in Buckinghamshire.
He's a customer in my shop. And over the past 6 years, he, from laughing at me 6 years ago, he now sits and talks to me. Mm. So who's changed? Well, not me. He's changed. Mm. So these little things that we do in life, maybe we don't see the rewards as quickly as we would hope. And maybe the system knows that to try and make too much change in one lifetime is to push the agenda a little too far. Because those that want to control us have to persuade those below to do it. That's why those that work for the system get paid so much better now. In the real world of common sense, which doesn't exist no more, if you work for the council, you should be on minimum wage. You should be, I can't get a job anywhere else, so I'll go and work for the council. And you should be providing servant services because they are public servants.
Meant to be public servants.
So they should be earning less than we are as our servants. In other words, we should be the benefactors of our produce, and they should be our servants, making life easier for us. But it couldn't be more different to that, could it?
No.
You see, corruption costs a lot to maintain when it gets to where we are now. Mm-hmm. The system knows that everyone's corrupt. The people in these jobs, I mean, you were speaking to somebody who used to work for customs.
Yeah.
You know, give me the quote. Tell me the quote that you told me. What did you say about the pay? About the money they get? What did you say? You told me last week.
I can't remember now.
Surrounded by yes people.
Oh, I see. The people that got higher up in the pay grades were the ones that just said yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir.
And getting paid an awful lot of money to do nothing.
Yeah, and a lot of money to do nothing. Yeah, and the ones that wanted who come up and questioned what they were doing were told to shut up and get on with it.
But that's the world we've got now, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, how many people know that almost a third of your council tax payments actually goes towards the people who work for the council's pensions. You see, you don't only pay for your own pension and your own health care, but you're expected to pay for your own servants' pensions. And they get a better one than you do.
Mm-hmm.
You're not really meant to understand that the council that represents you and provides you with the services you pay them for, you're not ever meant to realise it's a business. It's run for profit.
Mm-hmm.
And the budget is simply the amount of funds allocated. And it's the minimum amount allocated to you, so you'll pay them next year. They are not interested in you being successful. Oh, no. They're interested in expanding their services that they can charge for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all they're interested in. Because slowly but surely the services that are free have been withdrawn and replaced with identical services, some from outside companies, so you can't tell it's the council.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Or we can no longer afford this, so another company's coming in,
Yeah,
and you have to pay.
We're subcontracting it out because
Exactly.
it's cheaper.
Yeah, it's cheaper for them and more expensive
More
for you.
expensive for you, yeah.
That's right. This is always about the money. But we always get cloudy in the argument.
Mm.
Follow the money and you'll find the reason. It's as simple as that. Who benefits? Well, the council are interested in their pensions. They're not interested in anything else. Everything else comes secondary. It's run as a business. It provides an investment fund that provides the pensions. So you're paying it.
Mm.
And as the council people retire, like the fireman that I quoted earlier, it's me that's paying his pension. And he comes in and smarts about it and thinks he's a success. He doesn't realise he is making everybody else poor.
Mm.
It's not his fault. It's just that that's what's happening here. Our services are being reduced so they can live a life of royalty. And it's going to cause trouble in the years to come. Because eventually this information is going to be released and people are going to realise that we're paying for gold-plated pensions from people in the council who did nothing more than empty the bins and sweep bloody streets. And they're getting paid 4 and 5 times more than we're going to get. And eventually we're going to say we're not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Are we wrong?
No, I'm just wondering when the eventually is going to be.
The eventually will be when we run out of money.
Yes, that'll be.
You realise now that the councillors are starting to look after their own interests, and that is that they're starting to reduce the pensions for firemen, policemen, teachers.
Yeah.
Yep. The actually sort of the enticement of the salary now, but you're not having a pension later. Has it resulted in a reduction in your council tax at all? Have you? No silly changes? No.
No.
No. Here we are, and it's not going to change. The future is coming, regardless of what you and I say, regardless of what the people on Facebook say. The alternative media, God bless them, they're doing their best. But we're in hundreds now. We're not in thousands of people anymore. There's just hundreds of people who are interested really how the vaccines are working at this point.
Yeah.
There is the next pay grade above us. They're aware of it as well, but
Yeah.
they're much more the political class.
Mm-hmm.
They're much more fighting the political arena, whereas we realise that's for fools. Really, it's for fools. Either get involved locally and try and change things at the grassroots level, or watch Newsnight and think you know stuff, because the next level up still is sort of doing that, and the next level up above that, they're too busy buying champagne and Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
They're not worried about they could care less.
And in that level are the people that we really need to. They're the ones that could effect change.
But they haven't lost enough
But
yet, have
they
they?
haven't. No.
They haven't, you see the solicitors and the
self-preservation thing
the lawyers and the
kicks in,
barristers,
yeah.
Right, they're out of business eventually.
Yes.
Because
yeah.
this is going to become an authoritarian society where mummy and daddy say you do or you can't.
Yeah.
You know, you'll do as you're told or you can't do that. There will be no rules and regulations after that.
No.
There will be. I mean, look at the self-drive cars that are coming. You know, they're coming. The latest figures that I've heard, in 20 years' time, half the jobs will be automated.
Yeah.
Well, what are we going to do? Well, you can believe it or not, but the conspiracy just might have been sort of discussed in the 30s. We need to make a plan for technology and its arrival, and we need to understand that we're not going to need all these people.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't, we learned from the Second World War that we can't just shoot them, really, because that doesn't go very well. We don't take it very well. We would like to, shooting them, but we can't really. So, discussed in the 30s, failed in the 40s, and the Second World War really failed in such a way. The Jews, 6 million Jews got apparently exterminated. Just don't mention the 26 million Russians that also got killed.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Don't do that. Otherwise, you realise that the Jews weren't the only ones that lost out.
No,
feel sorry for Jews and nobody else.
And the Japanese.
Don't say anything nasty about Jews.
The Japanese that were vaporised by nuclear
exactly,
bombs.
Yeah. So
yeah.
No, don't worry about them.
No,
don't worry about them at all. No, don't worry about them. It's just Jewish people you have to feel sorry for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So don't ever say anything wrong about them, will you?
No, I better not.
But yeah, it is quite a shock, and I think it was quite a shock to the system itself, that when you put white coats on people and license them to kill, they do.
Mm-hmm.
They actually will. In the name of advancing medical knowledge. Just stick a white coat on and have a practice. See how we get on. Has that changed? Well, the medical profession is as guilty as every other profession of allowing technology to take a lot of their common sense away. Now the computer screen says what they can and can't do. They are just the administrators of the prescription.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
In my experience, it is.
In mine too, yeah.
And how much do they know about the medical stuff they're prescribing? Well, from what I can gather, no more than you can find on the internet. And considerably less in some cases. It's called due diligence, isn't it? You've got the tool, use it. You've got the possibility to find out for yourself, use it.
Are we spelling that J-E-W or D-U-E? Due diligence.
Yeah, correct, yeah. Or duty. Yeah. Yeah, J-E-W-D-U-E. If you want to go to the very, very beginning, D-E-W.
Due, yeah.
Taking the very food out of the plant, taking the very food away itself. We should try and write down these connections and have a whole show of it, but we don't. The connections come to us as we speak.
Yeah.
We're in an eternal war. We've been at war throughout history forever, and we fought them and they built them.
Yes.
We fought them and they built their very same thing to stop us.
What would that be? Would that be a fort?
Yeah. Well, it's like the word C-A-U-G-H-T. When they've caught you, they take you to the place where the game's played. The C-O-U-R-T.
They do, yeah.
It's the same bloody thing. That's where the game's played. Where the ship is docked and the fish is held. We talk about the history of our language, and it seems to be the history of all language. It's actually the very definition of language, from as far back as we can find out. It goes back, doesn't it? But the one thing that we do know that our language has been changed considerably is the maritime edition. The land language has been turned into the language of the sea. So the shipping terms that were unique to the control system through when Empire, when Britannia ruled the waves, those control systems that were developed so countries could trade each other, the laws of the sea, those have been brought onto the lands, and the cultures have been the language of the cultures have been changed, so the laws of the sea can be applied. Are we already under martial control, do you think? Have we been under a navy control system for a long time?
For a long time now.
We have, haven't we?
Yeah.
People say, what does the City of London do? Well, I don't really know what the City of London does, but it seems to control prices on everything we need. And it seems to be voted for and run by big business. So I think we can work out what the City of London does, can't we?
Yeah.
It controls world prices on things that we need.
Yeah. Governed by the square mile. And in that square mile is Tower of London, and a little fact that probably people don't know about the Tower of London is the moat can be reinstated at any time.
Just open the gate.
Yeah.
And refill them up.
That's all they need to do is open the floodgate and it'll flood, and they can seal themselves off.
Moat, boat and coat.
Why would they need to keep that? Ask yourself, why would they need to keep that facility in place?
They must be, in some part, a little concerned.
It sounds medieval to me.
It's medi and evil, yeah. Doesn't sound sweet, does it?
No.
Do you not think that at some point they must be looking at each other and thinking, how the hell are we getting away with this?
Yeah.
You know, this. There's no one that holds us in contempt, is there?
No.
Because we just take it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
we do.
I mean, I've had over the years. I mean, I was married once. I didn't like it, so I haven't got married again. But I've had a number of dalliances, which I'm not going to go into. But as far as I'm concerned, it allows me to speak with experience. Whereas, people who've been married, 27, 30 years, whatever, they don't have the same experiences I have. So sharing experiences is part of how we learn and grow. And the one thing that I have learned is that the girls have changed over the years. The girl you married is probably still the same girl you married. But as relationships collapse, people change. These things change our lives, and they change the way that we approach the next relationship. So, in the case of a relationship failing, the next relationship after that suffers greatly because of the failure of the last one. In other words, the person that you pick has to prove that they're not the same as the last one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Otherwise, they won't be successful in getting your attention. Well, that's not a good way to start, is it? But what happens if that's going on all the time? And what happens if, because of a number of reasons, we've had a number of failed relationships, so we've got so many checks to do that we never find anybody who's good enough?
Mm. Mm. I hate that saying. When we got married, I'll change him.
Well, girls are guilty of saying that.
Yeah,
girls are guilty of saying it.
And why would you want to change something if you're not happy with it to start with? That should be the warning signs to say no, we don't go there.
But is a girl's job to domesticate a guy? Is it really? Is a girl's job to domesticate him, love him, and make home and bring kids to the world? And is that her job? I mean, the feminists will be killing me now. They'll be shooting me with long-range rifles, but you know what I mean? Is that her job? Okay, the modern day way we live has changed all that. But let's go back a step and just say, what are girls for again? Because if we're going to validate a girl, what's she for again?
She's the only one that can have the children.
But she's the only one that can do those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A girl domesticates a guy because a girl makes a guy want to be a better person. Mm-hmm. Because she has something that he doesn't have. She has emotions. She has a better temperament, a higher pain threshold, and usually she lives longer. Mm-hmm. She's more patient.
Yeah.
And she's
more dexterous.
And she's more nurturing.
Yeah,
she's got all the things that the guy doesn't have.
Mm-hmm.
So he recognises that in her, and because she's so capable, she domesticates him, but in a good way, if you see what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's her job to domesticate him and to love him and to engineer a home and bring children into a happy home, then what's his job? Well, for me, it's just one line: to provide all those things to make it happen. Isn't that it?
Mm-hmm.
But what we have nowadays is what?
Competition. We're just competing for the... You put it very eloquently, the fight for the invisible steering wheel.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if girls don't want to be girls and boys can't be boys, what did we think we were going to end up with? We're going to end up with an entire generation of short-term, meaningful overnight relationships that are worth nothing more.
No.
And children eventually are going to become the unwanted byproduct of mistakes that have been made by those relationships. Am I talking about the future, or am I talking about now?
You're talking about... Well, a little annoying thing is the wartime is a time when they say to us, oh, it was when we all pulled together, it was this, that and the other. What absolute crock of crap that is. It was engineered so that it would get women out the houses into the factories, and they are good. They're good at I know some lady welders.
They work harder and longer than
I
we
used
do.
that I used to go see, and they could weld quicker and faster than a man on small little components because they had smaller hands. And men had tried
I think you also
and they
find
couldn't
it's the
do it.
patience thing. It's the temperament.
Yeah,
Their
but
temperance.
it was repetition.
But their temperance.
Yeah,
They're calm when the guys are losing their head. The girls don't want war.
no,
The guys only know war.
They shouldn't want war.
That's
No,
right. But those are the two differences.
but then
this was the war and peace.
It was, but
he was the war, she's the peace.
But now we've taken it to another level. The girls are not only good enough working in the factories, they're good enough to work in the factories and do the work, but they're also good enough now to fight on the battlefield.
Are they really?
They are.
They really?
They're apparently allowed now.
What do we think of a society that sends their girls into battle?
Exactly, because of
what do
equality.
we make of ourselves, eh?
Yeah. We're taking a step back in time. We're taking it back, and you can quote Boudica or Boot. I was always told, I came from a grammar school, it was Boadicea. It was never Boudica.
No.
But she rode a chariot and she killed and slaughtered and...
We're going back to a female deity control system called Mother Nature.
We've said this a
We're
time
going
or two,
back to
yeah.
Mother
We
Nature.
can see it's working its way back that way.
And you know what? If that is the big circle of life, maybe that's okay. Maybe I'm okay with that. Because look at the guys. Look at the people who we now have to call our leaders. They are nothing like leaders.
Nope.
There's nothing in those people that I respect. I will not ever respect those people. They are weak, fearful, insecure, and they know nothing that matters. They have faces with no emotion in, and they don't bloody care. Yeah, the world is a mess. Yeah, the people are confused, lost, and lonely. And you know, inside those heads, they're fighting. They've got their own personal battle going on.
Yeah.
And for me to butt in on that battle, if I'm invited, I'll try. And I'll try and stop them fighting with that imaginary battle. And do you know what that battle is? It's actually just to get through. You find me somebody that's happy, and I'll find you 99 that aren't. We're making a real mess of it.
Yeah.
And we know we're making a mess of it. And we don't know how to change it. We don't know how to change it. Because we're given newspaper stories, and we're given television news to blame everybody else. My life is not going well because of these circumstances. It's a lie, boys and girls, it's a lie. It's because you believe that's to be the case.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel small, and it makes you feel insignificant and weak and fearful of failure and lonely. And I don't care how many people you've got around you. That's how you feel. But you can't tell people that, because they'll use it against you. And the thing is that you've not learned, and you'll never believe me, because I'll never meet you to prove this to you, that all you need is to listen and be kind. And you need to learn how to do that. And if you can learn how to do that, your life will take a turn for the better. You'll get choices that you never thought you'd get given, opportunities you never thought would come up, and allies you never knew existed. And they never knew, and you never knew. These people come to you because you're finally going to learn how to be attractive. You thought it was to make your face up, to colour your hair, and to buy yourself what you felt made you look good. And on one level, it worked, didn't it? It worked. You attracted the very most interested dogs. And what were they interested in? They were interested in taking all those things off and having sex with you. So what you attracted was people who wanted to have sex with you. Is that what you wanted to attract? Well, sort of. But you wanted to be able to control it. You wanted to be able to have what women have always had over the years, the ability to control men through sexual gratification. Well, that's okay, but what happens when the world turns into prostitutes? What happens when everybody's a prostitute? Your power's gone, hasn't it? Because, like this or not, guys get married because a girl loves them. We've talked about what girls are for, and if girls don't fulfill their side of the bargain, you can be damn sure what the guy won.
Are you allies, or is it all lies?
Exactly. You lie in bed. I don't know what to say that's going to make anyone's life different. I don't know what to say that made my life different. That's all I can say. If anyone who's listened to this lives somewhere near Yorkshire and actually wants to take a little time to meet you and I, it would be the highest compliment we could receive.
Yeah.
Well, you actually said, I want to jump in the car and meet you guys. What a compliment you've already paid us. We would find time, we would make time. And you know what? I'm sort of confident enough to say I think I could make a little difference. I think I could. But only if you wanted me to. And you know what the payback would be? Just a smile. Just a smile. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
That's it. It sounds so weak, doesn't it? You know, I'm a 50-year-old Yorkshire guy. And I'm saying, stop fighting and learn kindness. I would never realise that was the solution to our problems. It's not weakness. When you can show kindness, it's bloody strength. It's a strength to be able to show your emotions, because feeling is something that the world's forgotten about. Oh, we watch the films. Oh, we read the stories. And we picture ourselves as the heroes. But we've never faced death in our lifetimes, have we?
No.
We've never really faced death. We faced a spiritual awakening here, didn't we? And that's where we basically almost had a mental breakdown when you realise the world is doing everything it could to ruin your chances of being successful.
Yeah.
And everybody around you is programmed to say one thing and do the very same other. Because they don't want you to be successful either. It's upsetting when you watch families with young children, and those young children don't respect the parents. Because those parents will never be seen as parents. They'll never have the power of being a parent. They'll never have the pride that you used to have in children. Because to have pride in your children is for them to look up to you and say, you know, my mum and dad taught me well. They showed me things that made life better. And they helped me when I fell. But they didn't help me all the time I fell. And I shouted at them. And I got mad at them. And sometimes, I packed my toothbrush and a new pair of underpants, and Teddy came with me as well, and I ran away. But I didn't go far. You know? And these are things that you remember in your life. When your parents have challenged you. You know, Richard Branson, he tells a story in his book of his mum when he was 4 years old. And they lived in London. And 4 years old, his mum popped in the car, and they drove out of London into the leafy suburbs, and then onto what we call countryside. And his mum said to Richard, do you reckon you can find your way home from here? He was 4 years old. And he said, yeah, I think I can, yeah. So she said, get out of the car, and left him. 4 years old. He found his way home. Didn't do him badly, did it?
How old when he got home? About 36.
He bloody ruined it. Your timing's good sometimes.
That were bad.
It was shit, to be honest with you. You finish it. You bloody finish it then.
No, I can relate to that because my gran had a similar experience when I think I've told the story on previous shows. They had a little trip to Filey. Him and his two brothers. They went on a camping trip, and the motorbike and sidecar broke down, and he sat on the wall and waited for his dad all day to come and pick him up because he's going to get two people in the sidecar. So he picked the two youngest up, took them home, and then he was coming back for my granddad, and he never came back. So he hitchhiked all the way from Filey, and this is back in the 30s. Hitchhiked all the way back from Filey back to Yeadon.
Wasn't 4 though, was he?
He was around about that, probably 5 or 6, something like that. He wasn't much older.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
In this world that we've built of illusion now, we believe that everyone's a paedophile, don't we?
Mm.
As soon as it gets dark, the paedophiles are everywhere.
Yeah.
And when the school bells are ringing, there they are.
Mm.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is.
It's just crazy.
Suspicious minds.
Caught in the trap, we can't get out.
We can't.
There's a guy who works down the chip shop.
It's not yours, is it?
Are we a bunch of heroes or a bunch of cowards?
Yeah. Terror wins.
I know one thing. There's not enough heroes around, is there?
No.
Well, Disney provides enough of them.
Yeah.
And we watch enough of them. Mm. But we've never faced death, have we?
No, not in our lifetime.
Only then we'll know.
Mm.
Until then,
yeah,
we can pretend that we're heroes.
Mm.
Another Tuesday.
Yep.
Thanks
Good
for
night
listening.
from me.
Thank you. Bye.
Last night, I stood in the bedroom where our children sleep, and I listened to their mother read them a bedtime story. And in the final saga of this wonderful land where animals talk with humans and a great lion leads them all to love and faith and courage. In the last chapter of this great story written for children just like me and Mrs. Davis over here, all of the lion's enemies have swept away his followers except for 2, a bear and a unicorn, who are trapped in a cave with a lion. And because the entrance to this cave is narrow, the wave after wave of soldiers that the evil king sends in to try and kill them can't do it. The lion, the bear, the unicorn, they fight him off. So finally the king sends in a messenger. He says, look, the one that we really want, the one we're interested in is that lion. Give him up, and the rest of you will live. The unicorn, we're going to cut his horn off. We'll make him pull a cart for the rest of his life. The bear, we're going to put in chains and shackles, make him dance in the circus. But both of you will live. All you have to do is give up that lion. Finally, the lion looks at his friends with that look in his eyes. What are you going to do? And the bear and the unicorn, they just smile. And they say, of all the deaths that we could have died, this right here is the one we would have chosen.